For centuries, one of the greatest empires in the Americas ruled vast territories with organization, strategy, and military might. From the Andean Mountains to the Pacific coast, their influence stretched across what is now Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and parts of Colombia, Argentina, and Chile. They built incredible cities like Machu Picchu, engineered thousands of miles of roads, and managed a complex society without a written language. But what truly destroyed this empire wasn't just a single war or one simple cause. It was a sequence of decisions, ambitions, and an unexpected fate that aligned in the most destructive way possible. This is the story of the fall of the Inca Empire, a tale of civil war, disease, and conquest that changed the course of history forever. Our story begins in the early 16th century, around 1527. The ruler of the vast Inca Empire was a powerful leader who had expanded its borders further than any of his predecessors. His name was Huayna Capac. He wasn't just a conqueror. He was a consolidator. He strengthened the borders, built infrastructure, and maintained political stability for years, overseeing a golden age of the empire. He commanded loyalty from millions and led one of the most powerful armies in the world at the time. The empire, known as Tahuantinsuyo, seemed invincible, destined to last for generations to come. But then, something invisible and terrifying changed everything. A disease brought from across the ocean, smallpox, began its silent, deadly march throughout the Americas after the first European contacts. Indigenous populations, having never been exposed to these old-world illnesses, had no immunity. Smallpox spread like wildfire, wiping out entire communities and causing demographic collapse on a scale that's hard to even imagine. The Inca Empire was not spared. This invisible enemy reached the heart of the empire, and one of its most prominent victims was the emperor himself. Huayna Capac fell ill and died. In his final moments, he reportedly named his heir, a son named Kyo. However, in a tragic turn of events, the designated successor also died from smallpox shortly afterward, possibly even before the news of his appointment reached him. With the emperor and his chosen heir gone, the line of succession was broken. The empire, which had been held together by the absolute authority of a single ruler, suddenly found itself leaderless. A power vacuum emerged, and the stability that Huayna Capac had worked so hard to maintain began to crumble. The empire entered a crisis, and two of his remaining sons saw an opportunity to claim the throne. With the emperor's death, two powerful sons vied for control. In the imperial capital of Cusco, there was Huascar. He was one of Huayna Capac's sons by his principal wife and was supported by the traditional elite and nobility of Cusco. He saw himself as the legitimate heir, representing the established order of the empire. Far to the north, in the region of Quito, modern-day Ecuador, was his half-brother. Atahualpa had been his father's favorite and had spent years campaigning alongside him with the empire's best generals and most seasoned troops. He was a charismatic and proven military commander. The two brothers had very different bases of support and seemingly different visions for the empire. Huascar had the political backing of the capital's aristocracy, the heart of Inca power. Atahualpa, on the other hand, commanded the loyalty of the powerful northern army, including brilliant generals like Quisquis and He had the military might, while Huascar had the political legitimacy. What began as a tense political standoff, fueled by distrust and ambition, soon spiraled out of control. Messengers were sent back and forth, but diplomacy failed. The tension quickly escalated, and the simmering rivalry erupted into open war. Thus began the Inca Civil War, a brutal conflict that pitted brother against brother, region against region, and army against army. The war that would tear the empire apart from the inside. This wasn't just a small skirmish, it was a full-blown civil war that raged across the empire for several years. Battles were fought in various regions, leaving trails of destruction and thousands dead. Atahualpa's generals, Quisquis and Calcamac, demonstrated superior military strategy and tactics, pushing their forces south from Quito towards the capital. The conflict culminated in a series of decisive confrontations near the areas south of Cusco. In one of the key battles, Huascar's forces managed to score a significant victory, even capturing Atahualpa for a short time. But then Huascar made a fatal mistake. After this victory, he celebrated and failed to pursue the defeated enemy forces with enough aggression. This crucial lapse in judgment gave Atahualpa's army the chance to escape, regroup, and plan a counter. Using their cunning and experience, Atahualpa's generals launched a devastating ambush. Huascar's army was caught by surprise, surrounded, and completely defeated. In the chaos of the battle, Huascar himself was captured, With the legitimate emperor now a prisoner of his half-brother, his army scattered. The path to the capital was open. Atahualpa's forces marched into Cusco, sacked the city, and secured their victory. The war was over. Atahualpa had won. He was now the undisputed ruler, the Sapa Inca, but his victory came at a terrible price. The empire was exhausted, its resources depleted, its population divided, and its leadership fractured. The Civil War had left deep scars that had not yet begun to heal, and it was at this exact moment of internal weakness, while the empire was still reeling from the bloody aftermath of the war, that strange news began to circulate along the coast. Rumors spoke of bizarre floating houses appearing on the ocean, carrying men with pale skin and hair on their faces. These strangers had landed on the northern shores of the empire. They were led by a man named Francisco Pizarro, a Spanish conquistador driven by ambition, greed, and a lust for gold. They were not just curious explorers, they were hardened veterans of conquest in the Americas, and they were here to claim this new land for Spain. These foreigners brought with them things the Inca had never seen before: steel swords, armor, arquebuses, early firearms, and most terrifyingly, horses, which were like giant, powerful beasts to the native people. But their most dangerous weapon was their strategy, one honed over decades of colonization, a strategy based on deception, political manipulation, and capturing the leader to paralyze the state. Unbeknownst to him, the newly victorious Atahualpa, who was resting in the city of Cajamarca on his way to Cusco to be officially crowned, learned of their arrival. Confident in his power and the sheer size of his armies, he underestimated the threat. He believed he had complete control of the situation and allowed this small band of foreigners to advance unopposed through his territory, thinking he could easily deal with them later. Fate was already in motion. The Spaniards were marching inland directly towards an encounter that would change history forever. The stage was set for a clash of worlds. This was only the first part of our story, an empire weakened by a devastating plague, a brutal civil war that pitted brother against brother and left the nation divided, and an outside force, small but determined, arriving at the most opportune moment. In the next episode, we will travel to the city of Cajamarca. You will discover how a small group of just over 160 Spanish conquistadors managed to ambush and capture the most powerful emperor in South America, an emperor surrounded by an army of tens of thousands. It's a moment of betrayal, shock, and audacity that sealed the fate of the Inca Empire. If you want to continue this incredible historical journey, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. The story of the empire's fall is only just beginning. Thanks for watching.